All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're talking about a world where farming meets coding, where agriculture meets algorithms. We're going to explore how data and simulation are being used to not just grow our food, but to actually design it from the ground up. And we're starting with lettuce. So let's kick things off with a pretty wild question. How do you build the perfect lettuce? Seriously. Imagine you're a farmer. You've got this amazing, high-tech, hydroponic greenhouse, but there's a catch. You're in a place where it's just a little too hot. You need a lettuce that can take the heat and still produce like a champ. Where do you even start?
And this right here is what we're going to call the perfect lettuce problem. We've got a very specific challenge, a real-world scenario that needs a custom-built solution. A standard seed packet you grab from the store, yeah, that's just not going to cut it.
You see, in these modern, super-controlled farms, you have to be incredibly precise. This farmer needs a lettuce with a very specific checklist of traits. Amazing yield, obviously, but also an exceptional ability to handle heat. The problem is, a lettuce that has that perfect combination, well, it might not even exist. At least, not yet. So, to solve this, where do we begin? Not in a field, not in a greenhouse, but in a database. I want you to think of it like a massive digital library, just packed with the profiles of hundreds of different types of lettuce that have been developed over the last 200 years. Every single one of these lettuces in the library has what's called a cultivar profile. Honestly, the best way to think about it is like its resume, or maybe even better, a character sheet in a video game. It's got all the stats, its potential for leaf size, its resistance to bolting, how well it uses nutrients, and this is the big one for our farmer, its tolerance to heat. And when you start digging through these profiles, wow, you see this incredible story of innovation. So on the left, you've got this old-timer, black-seeded Simpson, an heirloom from 1850. It's fine, but look at that heat tolerance, super low. Now jump 170 years forward to the Rex Butterhead from 2020. I mean, the improvement in heat tolerance and yield is just dramatic. But here's the kicker. Is even this modern champion good enough for our farmer's specific setup? To figure that out, we turn to our next tool, the virtual greenhouse. This is where things get really cool. It's basically a flight simulator, but for plants. Instead of spending a ton of money and months of time planting dozens of varieties just to see what happens, we can run thousands of simulations in minutes. We can digitally build an exact copy of our farmer's greenhouse. We're talking everything, the high-powered lights, the specific nutrient recipe, and of course that intense heat. We can tell the computer exactly how tough this environment is going to be. And in the language of this simulation, the heat isn't just hot, it's a hard number, a temperature stress factor of plus 0.4. This little number is the key. It lets the model calculate with incredible precision how different lettuces are going to react based on their unique genetics. Okay, so the stage is set. We're ready to run our virtual stress test. We've got our candidates, the old heirloom black-seeded Simpson, a classic heat-tolerant romaine, Paris Island Cause, and that modern marvel, Rex Butterhead. So what do you think? Based on what you've seen, which one is going to come out on top? All right, now check this out. The results are in. And as you might have guessed, the modern Rex Butterhead does the best. It gets an adaptation score of 0.92. But, and this is a big but, notice it's not a perfect 1.0. Even our best off-the-shelf option is still struggling a bit in the heat, and that tells us something huge. To get the perfect lettuce, we can't just pick one. We're going to have to create one. This is where the whole system just shifts gears. It stops being just a simulator and becomes something more like a high-tech matchmaking service, but for plants. If the perfect lettuce isn't in our library, the program's new job is to figure out how to breed it into existence. So, this is where we get to be really picky. We basically hand the system a wish list. We define the perfect traits we're looking for based on what our farmer needs. We want super high heat tolerance, excellent yield, we need it to be strong against bolting, and, for top quality, very low nitrate buildup. These are our targets. This system then just churns through the entire database, comparing every single lettuce against our wish list and scoring them. And here's the really smart part. It's not just looking for the 2 best lettuces overall. No, it's looking for 2 parents that have the best complementary strengths, the perfect partners to create something even better. So, this is what it's all been building towards, the most exciting part. The system has found the perfect parents. Now it's time to virtually crossbreed them and actually design our new custom-tailored lettuce. And here they are, our champions, the two lettuces chosen by the algorithm. Parent 1 is Rex Butterhead, who we already know. It brings that elite heat tolerance and yield. Parent 2 is Salanova Green Butter, another modern powerhouse that brings world-class bolting tolerance and amazing nitrate efficiency to the team. You see how they perfectly cover each other's weaknesses?
So what happens when you combine the genetics of these two elite parents? What does the simulation predict for their virtual baby?
And the result is a predicted yield index of 1.15. Now, this number represents the lettuce's raw yield potential combined with its ability to handle that specific hot environment. And to put that into perspective, that score is higher than either of its superstar parents could get on their own in those same conditions.
And that's the whole ballgame right there. The system has designed a brand new hybrid that is predicted to be greater than the sum of its parts. It took the best traits from two champions and fused them to create something even better. And you know, this perfectly illustrates a real biological principle called heterosis, or you might have heard it called hybrid vigor. It's that kind of magic bonus you can get from smart breeding where the kid is just plain better than both parents. This system takes that magic and makes it predictable, targeting it with pinpoint accuracy before a single seed ever touches soil. So let's just pause for a second and think about what we just saw. By combining this deep library of genetic data with some seriously powerful simulation, we have, for all intents and purposes, designed a brand new food. We solved a specific farmer's problem by creating a virtual lettuce tailored to their exact needs, all inside a computer. And that really brings us to the final thought I want to leave you with. This technology goes way, way beyond lettuce. This is a blueprint for designing crops that are more resilient, more nutritious, and way more productive, especially for our changing world. So the real question is this. If we can code the perfect lettuce today, what food are we going to be designing tomorrow?